Hi, my name is Juliana. Thank you for following our weekly training sessions that we air every Friday. Our hope is that these have been impactful as you start and grow your businesses. This year, 2022, we're back with new and exciting topics guaranteed to take your business to the next level. Please subscribe to our social media handles to enjoy the latest training topic.
In our last session, we spent time on building an early warning system at a company level. But now I want to tell you that it is important that we extend this same early warning system to the individual behind the company. An entrepreneur is a person with a high propensity, a very strong proclivity for taking risk. He or she knows that risks can often obscure great opportunities, and that fear is a disabler of the efforts to take risks. The fear of the unknown, or even what we called problem blindness, as we discussed in the past segments. The idea that a problem has festered for so long that we do not see it, we do not see how to improve a situation, how to work around a problem, or we assume that this is the way things must always be. This kind of thinking makes non-entrepreneurs, non-business people, ordinary people, who want a sense of, stability. It makes them fear to take the first step. We often accept mediocrity because we fear taking risks, but not for the entrepreneur who is chasing an opportunity. Instead, risk even more drives him or her into what appears as dangerous waters for many who are looking at what the entrepreneur is doing. This is why the business leader needs an early warning system at a personal level, just like the company does. So today we'll speak about 3 levels. The company, we said 4 levels. And just to remind you, remember we said you place a warning system at a customer level, you place a warning system at a regulatory level, you place a warning system at staff and HR level, you place a warning system, I think, at technology level. I went through this last time. So company, 4 levels. Individual, 3 levels. So the first level is what I call the intellectual level. You place a warning system at the intellectual level. Often, when we start and run a business, we think, or we tend to think, we know it all. Yet we might be basing all our current decisions on what no longer works for the state of the business today. A business leader needs to force themselves to read widely. For in this way, there is a sense of self-renewal in reading widely, a sense of self-renewal, a sense of self-discovery and innovation that one might not find if we stay in the day-to-day race to get business operations moving. We have to be deliberate about reading and writing as business leaders, writing and our thoughts, because when we look back and see how mature or how less grown we have been over the years, we learn from our experience. I also know that writing and reading is an ancient, time-tested way to help the next generation. In biblical times, for those of you who read the Bible, whenever a king would be struggling to make an important decision and has often lacked sleep, they would wake up in the middle of the night and ask for scrolls from past generations, scribes who had written scrolls, writers, to read so that those scrolls are read for them. This way, those kings would find ways to solve an issue by looking at how the issue was dealt with in the past and what they need to do in their day. Who are we then to know to read and write, especially as business leaders or managers? I think it is selfish to not share what you have learned so that future generations can use your experience in deciding improvements that must be done in the business for their time. It seems to me that social media has reduced reading and attention span for many of us. Many of you know that the need to summarize what we do in a few words to fit in Twitter channels and other tools makes reading and writing feel often tiresome for many business people. But we should also know that as the country and economies grow, time seems shorter for everything we do. Now, longer texts, audio and video clips that are long, even if they carry good lessons for us as leaders in business, they are frowned upon these days as time wasting. I want to encourage all of you to check your reading and writing habits. Often, I like to focus on some of my favorite authors whose work I enjoy reading. But many times, I have had to force myself to read books that are neither appealing to my taste nor easy to concentrate on. This is just so that I can learn a concept or two to use in my own life and in our business. For example, many of Peter Drucker's books, I've mentioned Peter Drucker several times in this podcast. Many of Peter Drucker's books on management were written in the 1960s and the 1970s when I was very young, before the internet age. But when I read them today, the management concepts that he talks about are as freshly baked bread intellectually, especially when you are struggling with issues of management of human resources. It just feels like words of 50 years ago feel like so fresh today. Check, therefore, your intellectual meter in business, for it is a warning that you are either growing or you are retarding. Retardation is like climate change. It is slow to notice, but it has very harsh effects when it catches up with you. I find reading and writing even more somewhat cathartic, especially if you want to release mental and emotional stress and challenges. Put it on paper instead of bottling it up. This is so that you can walk through those thoughts and look at them at a glance and you deal with them. You sort of remove yourself from those thoughts and place them on the table and you deal with them. Online newspapers and magazines, Facebook, WhatsApp, all these, Twitter, they are not enough sources of material for intellectual challenge and growth. I encourage you to look for books to supplement your knowledge in business. I can tell you from my experience that there is no school that will teach you business. There are many business schools, but I feel that they will teach you particular fundamental principles, but they won't teach you business. For I think that business and entrepreneurship is more caught than taught. It's like a bug. You feel it, you feel an idea that must be put into motion, and you do it, and nobody teaches you that. That was the first level to place a warning system for an individual business person running a business, and we called it the intellectual meter. The second meter placement is at what I call the emotional level. An entrepreneur faces very rough conditions that require his or her emotional strength to be very versatile, to be adapting, and to be growing. Always. I can tell you, stress levels often in business are so high, given the need to compete with limited resources. You are dealing with human beings and our issues. You are dealing with scarcity. You are dealing with debts. You are dealing with pressure of taxes. You have social pressure to look and act a particular way. A business person should look and act. Really, an entrepreneur needs emotional strength. And out of that, they need to exercise a sense of self-restraint at many levels. Now, in my own experience in this area, I find that forgiving oneself and others on this journey to building a business and to let go of some of the things that you hold dear, it can be very therapeutic. If you don't develop emotional strength, you end up finding other ways to hold on to, such as the use of stimulants, cigarettes, alcohol, drugs, shopping. Some people do this to deal with stress and emotions, but I can assure you these are self-destructive in the end. You must build an emotional lever that is very strong to manage, sustain a business. This was our second one. The third alarm system should be placed at what I call the faith level. The faith level. Faith is the hope that things will be better tomorrow, even if you fail today. Entrepreneurs are people who put money, ideas, and they trust that the future will have a good return, and they bet on this return. In many ways, entrepreneurs are people of faith because they have to keep searching, they have to keep iterating, they have to keep challenging their current position they're standing in so that they can avoid being stuck in the past. Entrepreneurs ask the right questions about industries, about sectors with an open mind and less bias. In my world, I see, for example, the Uganda agriculture sector, where we are, whose exports form some 62% of our total exports, but they fetch less than $3 billion. But almost the same commodities that we export also come from one state in America. There's a state there which is the size of Uganda. I think the state is called California. That state exports almost similar type of crops and products, but they fetch $21.7 billion. We fetch 3, they fetch $21.7 billion. So in my opinion, I ask what makes the difference in scale, in intensity, and in revenue for the same sectors in two different countries. When you are an entrepreneur, this becomes a point of questioning, a point of thinking, a point of application. Thinking, I have said in the past, is profound. It's not passive. It becomes a point of change. Therefore, entrepreneurs are often the right soil in which good future national and international leaders for various industries come from. Because they must stay faithful, they must keep trusting, they must keep working hard at a better tomorrow. An entrepreneur taking risks without a form of faith will dry up very soon and give up the fight.
We would like to hear from you. Please email us at info@tapmedia.com and visit our website at www.tapmedia.com. You can also visit our offices located at Tomosi Business Park, Luzira, Port Bell Road, or call 0414 220 702. Thank you.